Hi everybody, merit and demerit goods are another source of market failure. Let's go through them here. Start with merit goods. Merit goods are goods that are deemed to be more beneficial to consumers than they realise. Important to note that this is a normative consideration decided by politicians here. But more beneficial to consumers than they realise. Clearly, there is imperfect information at the heart of this market failure then, isn't there? If consumers don't fully understand just how good these merit goods are for them, there must be information gaps which are at the heart of the issue. So we dissect imperfect information. There might be information failure, when the information maybe is just not present at all, maybe the information is not clear, and maybe consumers are choosing to ignore the information. That's the information failure maybe. So information failure when there is a problem with the information here, which might mean that consumers don't fully understand the benefits of merit goods, or maybe there's asymmetric information, where the information does exist, but it's not shared equally between two parties. Also, merit goods often will generate positive externalities in their consumption. If we look at some examples here, it's very clear to see how both imperfect information and positive externalities in consumption can exist in merit goods. You've got healthcare, education, exercise. Healthcare and education are the two classic merit goods, but things like exercise and healthy eating, so fruit and vegetables, solar panels, all of these things will come into the merit good category as well. But take education as our example here. Can you argue there is imperfect information with education? For sure. Individuals will understand, I'm sure, the benefits of consuming education, so students, but they might not understand just how good consuming education is for them, because the benefits of consuming education will accrue in the future. So individuals might maybe underreport the importance of education for higher incomes and better living standards in the future. They don't know exactly just how much their incomes are going to increase if they consume education properly, if they really go for it and get the high grades and go to the good universities. That might lead to irrational decisions of consumers under-consuming education here. Add to that the fact that consuming education generates positive externalities in consumption, we get to this conclusion that education as a merit good, or merit goods generally, will be under-consumed and under-produced in a free market. So how do we show that on a diagram? Well, the issue here is that the private benefits are going to be lower than the full social benefit here. The social benefit is greater because social benefit will include the full information for consumers, the idea that consumers will be making rational decisions to consume at the right level, but also will include any external benefits, any positive externalities in consumption. So marginal social benefit is going to be higher than marginal private benefit. So there's marginal private benefit, and marginal social benefit is going to be way over here. There is no issue in production, so we've got MSC, which equals MPC, which equals our supply curve. The market will allocate scarce resources at the private optimum, where MPC cuts MPB here. That's Q1, and that's P1. Where society would like resources to be allocated at the social optimum, and that's where MSB equals MSC, and that gives us P star and Q star. We can clearly see here an underconsumption and underproduction of merit goods. And that leads to a welfare loss, and we've looked at this welfare loss before, and there is the welfare loss to society as a result. So the key thing for you to note is that information failure is at the heart of this market failure, as well as there being positive externalities in consumption. Make sure you use the phrase irrational decisions being made by consumers to underconsume, because they may lack the information. Can we do the same kind of thing for demerit goods? Absolutely. So demerit goods are deemed more harmful to consumers than they realise. Again, a normative consideration. But the reason they are more harmful than consumers realise is because, again, there is imperfect information at the heart of this market failure. Again, that could be information failure, where maybe the information is not present, maybe it's not clear, maybe it's being ignored. Or maybe there is asymmetric info. Certainly could well be the case with demerit goods, that producers have the information, but are choosing not to share it perfectly with consumers. Asymmetric information problems there. There may also be negative externalities in the consumption of demerit goods. Take the classic examples of cigarettes, alcohol, gambling also comes to mind here, where individuals, again, they may know that it's not good for them, but they might not know just how bad it is for them. So cigarettes, individuals that smoke may not know just how bad cigarettes are for them in terms of the likelihood of causing lung cancer, and just what the probability is. They may lack that information perfectly, and therefore may make irrational decisions to overconsume demerit goods, cigarettes in this case. Add to that there are negative externalities in the consumption of demerit goods, and we get to the conclusion that in a free market, demerit goods are overconsumed and they are overproduced. How do we show that diagrammatically? Well, the private benefits are going to be greater than the social benefit here. The issue is in consumption, so it's those two curves that will differ. So the social benefit is clearly going to be less because the social benefit will include the true private benefit when there is full information of just how bad these demerit goods are, but it will also include any negative external benefits here. So any negative impacts on third parties, which will pull down social benefit. So on a diagram, we are going to have two curves like that. This one is going to be the marginal private benefit, but the marginal social benefit is going to be lower. No issue in production, so MSC, which equals MPC, which equals supply. The free market will allocate scarce resources where MPB equals MPC, so that's Q1 there, and that's P1 there. Where society would like scarce resources to be allocated at the social optimum, that's where MSB equals MSC, and that's Q star, and that's P star. So it's very clear to see that there is an overconsumption here of demerit goods and an overproduction of them, and that will lead to a welfare loss, and the welfare loss is this triangle here, as we've learned in previous videos. So we can label that the welfare loss. So that is the issue when it comes to demerit goods. Overconsumed, overproduced, generating welfare loss. That's the misallocation of resources right here. Whereas in merit goods, the misallocation of resources was an underconsumption and an underproduction. Too few resources being allocated there, too many resources being allocated there, and we get market failures. But remember, it's information issues, imperfect information, at the heart of the market failures in each case. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I'll see you all on the next video.